Joe, you have a nice arse.
Oh, wow, thank you.
I was put in charge of training one time, and I was like, wait, am I not getting trained? They're like, no, you're doing the training. He was like, you're not good enough. Get out of here. I'm not saying I'm smart at all.
Oh, we know you're not.
Cheers.
He's the alpha. He's better than all of you. Fuck you all. You like otaku weeb shit? You want to see some anime titties?
No offence to all of you lot. You are shit. Bar sounds going, konnichiwa, young. Why are you calling me a twat?
If you go into a class where no one's energetic and you're energetic, they're just going to hate you more.
You don't get this on a board in Japan. Hey, Miho.
Miho, what's up?
What is happening?
Welcome back to the podcast.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It has been a while. Hisashiburi. Today is the teaching podcast. But before we get into that, coronavirus.
Coronavirus indeed.
Going everywhere around Japan at the moment. How are you feeling?
Where are you going with this, Dick?
Well, I just want to tell the listeners, I was going to say viewers, but now we're doing audio only.
Yeah, so you can't...
Listeners.
Unfortunately, you won't see us because we're both naked right now and we really weren't interested in getting dressed.
No, we weren't. I mean, yeah. I came around, Joe invited me around and...
Dead of winter.
One thing led to another.
Snowing/raining outside.
Yeah.
Sat here in the buff.
That's what we do. Like, people think that we like teach English all the time, but no, we're just like naked in
playing FIFA.
Others' apartments.
Yeah.
But something I saw yesterday, which I want to tell the listeners, is that
something shocking.
I saw something shocking, something that I thought I'd never see in my life, something that, like, even now it hurts to think about.
Was it an American talking quietly in a restaurant?
That I've never seen, to be honest.
Never will.
But what I did see was Joe Scott wearing a face mask. Joe, explain yourself.
The coronavirus. It's put the fear of God into everyone, including me.
Not only a kind of, I'm doing this in quotations, normal face mask. It was a black one, which that kind of looked like a anime character.
Yeah, but it was actually the only ones that were left in stock.
Oh, was it?
Yeah,
because they're all getting sold out.
Well, the thing is,
around the country, I've heard there's like a shortage of face masks.
So I'm wearing a face mask. I've got hand sanitizer in my bag. Washing my hands I never cared about germs ever. I've been like, in fact, I think I would go as far as saying that I didn't wash my hands enough. Not as like little as some people, but now I'm fucking washing my hands.
Not like Japanese guys going into the toilet doing a massive shit and then going back out.
Oh, that happened at school.
Going back out to teach.
Again. Yeah. And it's just, I was just stood next to him pissing. He walked out the door. I was just like, come on.
Oh, it's disgusting, isn't it? I mean,
anyway.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But,
let's just get into that later.
Yeah.
Corona.
So I'm washing my hands constantly.
Yeah.
Got a face mask on, but because public transport, they're like, oh.
Yeah.
I think it was the Department of Health, the leader of that or something was called rush hour travel, like public transport travel. He said that was non-essential, and he said avoid things that are non-essential.
Considering like 90% of the population probably travels on public transport to get to work.
Exactly.
How is that even possible?
So I'm there with my face mask on, washing my hands.
I do hate it in the morning now. Like, when people like, it's not as bad as Tokyo, but people shove in the morning, and I get on, and I'm just like kind of there, like standing,
people sniffling next to you,
and someone's just like, and I'm like, oh God, it's disgusting. We had an emergency meeting the other day.
Same.
And like it was during class, and suddenly the vice principal had a message on the what do you call it, the intercom, whatever it is, the speakerphone, speakerphone. Just making up words, and
that loud box.
yeah, and he was like, all teachers need to come to the teachers' room immediately. I'm like, oh my God,
I would be there like, I'm not really a teacher.
It's here. Get in there. Turns out some guy was just like, some boy was trying to do a pull-up on a pipe, and the pipe burst. So, but then I did go into school the next morning, and there was a little note on my desk saying Corona. Anyway, so I'm just going to read you a sentence, okay? The English proficiency level for Japanese was ranked 53rd in an annual survey of 100 non-English speaking countries, down from 49th from last year's survey. What do you make of that?
It does not surprise me. Part of me would have expected it to be lower because...
Yeah, I'm surprised it's 53rd.
Because, I mean, we don't necessarily know the standards of other countries, but we are very familiar with the standard in Japan, the country where we live. And it's not pretty. Like, we understand the ins and outs and the kind of minutiae of the English school boards and the basic program for teaching, and it's... How would you describe it?
Abysmal.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's not up to scratch.
Like, I'm shocked when I see how English is taught. Again,
in Japanese entirely.
Entirely, yeah. When I was taught German at school, I had a German teacher. So it was like having an ALT there. Teaching
but
us
one
full
with an
time.
actual teaching license.
But one with a
one
who could
who's actually
teach.
trained to be a teacher.
So she spoke fluent German, fluent English, and the classes were taught, I reckon, at first 70-30 in favour of German. And as the years went on, it was like 90% taught in German.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even difficult. The way she taught it and the way all the teachers taught it, it's easy to understand. But here, English is taught in Japanese, and they just do translation.
It's literally they write a sentence on the board and they write the translation underneath, and they're like, learn this, and that's not helpful. And then we're there to the ALT system in general is fundamentally flawed.
Absolutely, yeah.
And we're there to supplement that learning, depending on the school or depending on the JTE, depending on how that class works.
There's so many variables, isn't there?
Yeah, and so sometimes you can be expected to teach 50-minute lessons, like do the whole thing yourself, introduce grammar and teach it. Other times you're just there as a games master, and there's no sort of consistency in what your role is.
Yeah. Oh my God, the other day, right, I was in class and I'm there, a live English man.
Yeah.
And the teacher was like, okay, we're going to practice today's 50 vocabulary words.
Too many words.
Way too many words. It's 50 a week.
Too many.
For low-level students. And so I'm there and I'm like, I open up the book. I'm like, here we go. Time to get my 10 minutes of action done today. And she goes over to the CD player.
And presses play.
And she presses play. And the American voice comes on. Encyclopedia. What's another one? I just can't think of any word. Like
dinosaur.
Diversity. Computer. And I'm like, looking and...
It's so unnatural.
And I'm just there
Imagine
patrolling, and I'm like, what's the point?
Well, Yuki, today I went to Finland.
Yeah.
Terrible example, because you don't just go to Finland and come back in one day.
Yeah.
I am fantastic.
It's all like Yogi Bear.
It literally, it's fucking Yogi Bear.
And it's just not natural. And then students who actually have an interest in English, when they're applying, especially in high school, when they're trying to apply for the... like entrance exams, or they're taking things like the ACEN, which is the English proficiency
test,
things like that, and they go, oh yeah, my speaker was Indian or English or New Zealand, and I couldn't understand anything. I'm like, that's why, because you're not studying English in the first place.
Even so, like in the textbooks that we use, there's an Australian person, and you think, oh cool, like introduce them to a new accent so they can get used to it. No, it's an American voice.
Diversity.
Because I went to Melbourne.
Yeah.
It's like,
not that there's anything wrong with Americans, but it's not the exaggerate. Like, our American friends do not sound like... Even our American friends make fun of this.
But it's not just that either. Every example is American.
Yeah.
And, like, there's no representation for other... It's not that we need representation. It's that they need to get familiar with the fact that there are English speakers that don't have American accents. In fact, there are more English speakers that do. And like there are people who have, you know, in countries like India and places like Hong Kong, they're going to have vastly different accents that some people are going to find it difficult to understand.
Yeah. I kind of accepted it, but I wonder how you would feel in this situation. I was at school once, and the teacher, when I met her, when I first went there, she was kind of nice, but she was like, oh, you're British. And I was like, yeah. She was like, oh, we've never had a Brit in this school. And I was like, oh, right, well, like yoroshiku onegaishimasu, like, let's work together, like, I want to help you as much as I can. She's like, yeah, we've only had Americans and Canadians. I'm like, okay, well, like, yeah, okay.
You're there like, those people.
Yeah. Bastards. And so then we get to our first lesson. First years. And we're teaching...
Wait, was this junior high school?
Junior high school.
So 12 years old for 12-year-old kids.
And we're teaching I can and I can't. Okay? I think maybe you know where I'm going with this.
Yes, I do.
And I kind of say to students, like, okay, like she writes 2 sentences on the board and yeah, it's all perfect. And she's like, okay, please get students to repeat after you. So I'm like, I can ski. And they go, I can ski. And the other one was, I can't snowboard. And so I go, I can't snowboard. And the students are like, I can't. And they kind of stop. And she goes, what did you say? I'm like, I can't snowboard. And then as our company kind of told us, turn everything into a teaching point. If you make a mistake, not that my accent is a mistake. So I was like, okay.
You're,
and I went,
you're southern. You're from south of England. Your accent is definitely a mistake.
yeah, get out. And I was like, right, teaching points. I was like, in America, they say can't.
See, that's what I do.
In England, we say can't. And the teacher, quick as a
Pikachu
quick attack, she was just like, oh, can you use the American one, please? So I started like talking to her. I was like, oh, but in England, I say like can't. And she was like, yeah, but in the textbook, they learn can't.
In America, they say can't. In England, they say can't. In Australia, they say cunt.
Yeah. Well, I've tried teaching students to say can't, and they just go cunt.
Yeah.
I can't ski. I can't play soccer. And I'm like, okay, maybe the American pronunciation is better. Yeah. It's because they learn so much katakana, which if you're completely new to Japanese, there's 3 alphabets, so to speak. There's the kanji,
which are derived from the Chinese characters for English.
There's the hiragana, which is equivalent to like kanji, our alphabet, and then the katakana,
which is used for foreign alphabets.
Yeah, the foreign alphabet. Like but so a lot of words they use for like, for example, hotel, and it's stuff, but it's not hotel, it's hoteru.
Hoteru, because it's all it's syllabic, so it's like ka, ke, ku, ke, ko, sa, shi, su, se, so.
Yeah, it's all like phonetic, and
so it's like, I mean, like, so arse and earth are the same.
Joe, you have a nice arse.
Oh wow, thank you. Global warming is ruining my arse.
Like, imagine aliens came to Japan and they spoke English, and like the Japanese are just like, welcome to my arse. And like, aliens are like, what the fuck are you
aliens are like, you gotta take me out to dinner first. That's a quick introduction.
Earlier we were watching football. Heading shuto.
But like, it's just, I think if they have any genuine interest in like learning English or having their English education be better, or introducing English more into their like general day-to-day life, which surprise motherfuckers, English is so present in Japan. And the thing is, like, they're familiar with those words, and then you say in English and they don't understand it because they're so used to a different pronunciation of it.
Yeah.
And I think if they should just ban katakana in the English classroom.
Absolutely. Like, there's a reason why they're going back to that study I told you about. There's a reason why they're 53rd, because I can't speak for every other non-speaking English country, but I don't think they have that system of using borrowed language.
Yeah, or it's not as prevalent at least.
So, like, say for example, when I'm guessing Korean people or Chinese people, they don't say like hoteru instead of hotel.
No.
They'll learn how to say hotel, and even if it's a bad pronunciation, it's better than hoteru.
Yeah.
And over time, that will just click. When they see it and listen to it and speak it, they'll understand. And
that's the thing, even when there's like a certain degree of fluency for Japanese speakers, even if they're quite familiar with the language and they know, like, you know, syntax and grammar and what they want to say and everything, but so often there's difficulty with the actual pronunciation, even when they're trying. And that, like, you know, they're mostly unfamiliar. English has a ridiculous amount of sounds in it, and like mouth movements. Japan's super limited to like 50 or something in English. These numbers are completely wrong, but it shows like the disparity, at least, where I think English has like 4 times as many sounds as Japanese.
It's the most expressive language in the world.
So it's like there is like an unfamiliarity with that, so they don't necessarily know, which is why there is they have difficulty with V and B and L and R and the and s and everything.
Very Saturday, Thursday, Sati, 30.
And that's why, is because there is that like unfamiliarity with sounds. They've pushed English education earlier, so it used to start 5th grade in elementary school, and at least, I mean, over time that may make people may make them more familiar with the sounds and get them used to it. But then again, the only people who are actually teaching at that level, either ALTs, which depending on the ALT can be completely ineffective or not, or non-English teacher, like they'll probably just be like, oh, this guy can speak like a tiny bit of English.
Yeah, he's the English teacher. It's not even called English in elementary school time. It's like,
I am the English teacher now.
Yeah, it's called like foreign culture time or something like that, or like let's English or something. It's not. There's no actual like focus on English.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, until the actual way that English is taught is changed, I don't see that there's going to be any major progression. In 20 years' time, they may get to 45th in the world.
Let's aim for 47th.
47th.
Aim big.
By 2021. Do you promise?
Next year.
Let's do a little pinky promise.
47th?
Yeah, you and me are now going to try and change the whole of Japan in 1 year.
Oh man, Japan hasn't been able to change itself for hundreds of years. I don't think two white guys are going to help.
You never know.
The English system here is like fundamentally flawed, and a big part of that is the ALT system, which is equally or even more so fundamentally flawed. But I mean, I'm an ALT. Do I have a teaching license? No. Do I have any formal qualification for teaching? No. Why did I come here? Because I was interested in moving to Japan, and it was the route here.
Yeah.
And the problem now is that, you know, so many people do that. They stay for a year, then they leave. That's a problem because you're getting an unskilled teacher or someone unfamiliar with the role teaching for a year. And then the other problem is that if you want to stay after that, as I have done because of, well, I was initially going to leave and then I met Miho and now I'm stuck here. Thanks a lot, Miho. If you stay longer than that, then there's no incentive.
Yeah.
There's no raises. It's not a viable position to stay in. So why would you want to better yourself if there's no financial incentive? Yeah. And it's like, so now I'm here, about to go into my 4th year, and I think that I'm, you know, I'm competent. I'm not bad. I still haven't had anything in the way of training, to be quite honest.
Yep.
Like, I don't think, and there are other people who do take a massive amount of pride in their job. Not saying that I don't. I do. But there are some people who are very much like dedicating their time to, they want to be a teacher going forward. That isn't my end goal. So
I've met some fucking unbelievable
who shouldn't be allowed anywhere near children.
The stuff they've told me, not just me, like groups of people at training, and I'm like, what? How is this guy allowed near children? And he's just like, yeah, I fucking came from Australia, and like, and I'm like, oh my god, go back.
Well, it's not just that, it's the...
That was the worst Australian accent.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that sounded like a drunk Welsh, but no, it didn't even sound like that. But in terms of like the advertising that dispatch companies do to get people over here as well, is like they treat it or they present it as a working holiday. That they're like, you want to come to Japan for a year? You like otaku weeb shit? You want to see some anime titties?
Yeah.
You want to be really creepy towards people? Come to Japan for a year and then maybe go home. We don't care.
Yeah.
And then you get people who are only interested in coming to Japan because they want to be in Japan. They have no actual interest in teaching. And like I said, I'm 100% guilty of this. I came here because it was a cool opportunity straight out of university. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll go and do that. But now I'm in a position where I'm like, well, I'm obviously here for a bit, so I'm gonna, make an effort to be good at my job, so so I can actually help these children.
Yeah, but
even though it's not.
The reverse of that is the companies that hire us.
Well, they
are as worse because their only motivation is money. You can probably see this online. I'm just going to mention 2 companies online. I'm not saying that we work for either. I'm not saying whatever.
I'm just going to throw this out there. I do not necessarily agree with what Deck's about to say. I'm completely removed from the situation. I'm just listening. I'm just listening.
Yeah. I'm just saying what is on the national news in Hokkaido about 3 years ago. The main dispatch company to hire ALTs was kind of let go. And from their contract with the Board of Education, and another company came in to try and fill the position, did an awful job. The other company was sabotaging them. Yeah. In fact, they kind of like took me on and gave me a quite nice pay rise. But it was mad. You have these 2 companies battling for the most ALTs, but also wanting to pay the least. And at no point was education on either of their
the BOE
manifest, or the Board of Education didn't even care. They just want to hire the cheapest company as well.
The Board of Education have said previously that they don't value the position of ALTs.
I can't believe that. That's online for everyone to see.
And the thing is,
that's fact.
I understand that because I don't think that it's an effective... I don't think it's particularly effective
literally
at the moment.
Everything has to change. The Board of Educations have to change, the companies have to change, and the recruitment process not necessarily has to change, but either has to employ skilled work. I mean, to be honest, you and I both don't have teaching qualifications, but we are both competent teachers, and we've both found a passion in what we do, and we both enjoy it and we like it. And like, if a teacher now says, like, Joe, do a 20-minute activity on this, you could probably pull it out of the hat.
Oh no, I'll pull out my arse. I'm like, bitch, I got you.
You mean the arse?
The arse. I pull it straight out the arse.
This is what I want to talk about as well. Training. When you first came to Japan, without giving too many specifics, what kind of training? Did you get any training? How many people were there? Where did you do training? Let the listeners know, because that's what they're here for. They want to come to... Come on, we're going to break this up now. How do we come to Japan? What the process was. So let's start from the beginning. This is for the listeners. If you want to come to Japan...
It is a very good place to start.
From the beginning, that is a good place to start. Right, so how... Maybe we can even turn this into... No, we won't. Let's just keep this on the same podcast. How did you, Joseph Scott, come to Japan?
It was an ANA flight.
Okay, so before that, how did you plan?
Post-university.
Who did you pay to get into the country? Because you were banned initially, weren't you?
It's not
Too much anime stuff or something?
Oh, okay. God. No,
yeah. Right, so
I was post-university, I was working as a, like...
Rent boy.
Rent boy, corner worker,
all of them.
Everything all at once.
But whoever paid the bills.
My dad was working with someone who had done the exact same thing that we're doing now, left after 2 years. She was like, you can do this. I was like, I didn't know that was an opportunity. I've liked Japan since I was young. Yeah. It's always been like a pipe dream to live there. I never thought it was something that was actually feasible. And then they were like, you can go and teach English in Japan. It's really easy to do as long as you have a degree in anything. Again, part of the problem. A degree in fucking anything, really?
Literally just
you don't even
degree.
Need a TEFL course? Yeah. Fuck off. But
so you applied?
I applied. Well, actually, I started an application and they phoned me. And they were like, we see you've started an application. You're going to finish it? I was there like, this is creepy.
Desperate.
But yeah, I will. And then they phoned. I applied. I got a position. Oh no, they were like, you've got an interview.
Okay.
So I went down to London with like a group of 10 people. It was actually a pretty small group, maybe a little bit more, maybe 15. And it wasn't necessarily an interview. It was more like they were basically talking to us as if we'd got the job already.
Okay.
So
did you have to go in a suit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Me too. I'm not mocking you. It's just genuine
trying to trick me up.
No, that's a genuine question.
It's like, no, fucking like I am now. I was naked as fuck. But so I went down there, did all of that. They were like, "Do you have any tattoos?" I was like, "Yes." And they were like, "Can you hide it?" I was there like, "Maybe." And now they're like, "Okay." And then because you have to fill out like where you want to be, like ideally where you'll be positioned. Yeah. And I said Kanto because I was like, I want to go to Tokyo constantly.
Same here.
Thank fuck that didn't pan out. And then other people in my group put Hokkaido, and I got Hokkaido, they got Kanto. I was a bit aggrieved by that. I was like, whatever. Yeah. Turns out, thank God, because Hokkaido is the best. And I arrived at 6 o'clock on a Sunday night and had to go to training the next day. Everyone else in my training group had been there for a week plus and got all of their stuff done, like their My Number card, like got shit for their apartment. I was just dumped there, and now they're like, no, come to training tomorrow. Didn't have like a phone plan, didn't have anything like that. So I somehow found my way to training. I found someone in the train station who was a big like foreigner.
I assume when you keep saying training, you're doing that in inverted commas, because not once have I been trained in like 5 years. Although they're called training, it's training.
It was...
I mean, I was put in charge of training one time, and I was like, wait, am I not getting trained? They're like, no, you're doing the training. I'm like, okay, but I need some training. They're like, no.
It was like a week of, it was 5 days of training from like 9 to 5:30 every single day. Okay. And afterwards I had to go and sort like I turned up on the Monday and they're like, oh, so after this, you're going to go to the ward office and get your My Number card. I was like, where the fuck is the ward office? What the fuck is a My Number card? Where the fuck am I right now? Because I haven't slept in 48 hours and I haven't eaten in 48 hours.
Yeah.
So this one guy was like, oh, I'll show you and take you. And I was like, this is an absolute fucking farce.
Very stressful. Like, from the minute you get here, it's just bish, bash, bosh, and they don't plan anything. They don't give you any time. It's just like, right, you've got training, and then we're assuming that you don't have plans because we're going to take you here and you're going to do everything. And you're just like,
well,
I
do you know
sleep.
that they're like, oh, people took you around to buy stuff for your apartment?
Yeah.
I didn't get that.
You didn't get that.
They're like, oh, an IC will come and take you around and get you like appliances, maybe like a kettle and everything. No, I did not get that. They were literally, I was dropped to my apartment at 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
In a completely foreign country where I didn't know the language. I'm saying this like I'm a fucking victim. It was my choice.
Yeah.
But I went and did that, and they dropped me there, and that was it. Thankfully, I found 2 girls in my training who were in my apartment block.
Yeah.
So they were like my Japan moms.
Yeah.
So they.
Well, how old were they? Have you just like dissed them?
No, they were like 2 or 3, 4 years older than me.
Some
like, I mean, like,
sisters then.
No, I say it in the most affectionate way.
Oh,
like,
okay, yeah.
In the most affectionate way possible, because they were super nice and like helped and everything. But I was completely out of sorts. I had no idea what was going on.
I think a lot of ALTs find that they're just. Me too. You're just dropped in the deep with no one to throw you like a life jacket or anything. For the first 6 months, you're doing pretty much everything for the first time. Even the first year, you're doing, because you're seeing all the textbooks, the first year, second year, third year textbooks
now
the first time,
the grammar points,
and then as soon as you've done a kind of year, you realise, I can just do this game for that, change the grammar. I can do that. I've done that with first years. I'll do that with third years.
It's easy, and you do kind of get into the rhythm of everything, and it does become quite. And that's the problem as well, is there's no real structure to what you're actually meant to be doing, which is, and again, very much an issue with the nature of the job. But
it's kind of just
and so like it was very much just like apply for the job, a bit later go for an interview, they tell me I've got the job, then they're like, oh, this is your placement.
Going back to that,
and also not to mention, they tell you to save up $5,000 because you don't get a paycheck for the first 2 months.
Yeah, that was
red flag. Wave that red flag.
And you've got to bring it all
in cash.
In
cash. This bum bag.
Yeah.
Like there was, honestly, like I kept it on my body for like 24 hours traveling. I had to peel it off. Yeah. By the end, because it was attached, it was like fused to me.
I was so scared that it was like 1% of me was thinking,
you're going to turn up and they're going to just...
Yeah, I thought, this is a scam. So I bought 4,000 instead. And I just thought, if I do get mugged, shame on them because they didn't get 5,000, they only got 4,000. Anyway, I want to go back to your point. When you were applying, from the moment you went on the internet and you were on that application form, to when they said you've got the job, how long was that span? Was that weeks? Was that months?
That's a good question. I remember I had...
Thanks.
Pardon?
You said it was a good question, so I said thanks.
I mean, so I remember applying in, I think it was either late November or early December. Had the interview on like January 11th or something. I just remember Villa lost 2-0 to Spurs in the cup, and it was like Sam Johnson's debut or something. But it was, I think it was maybe almost 2 months.
Wow.
Maybe.
Okay. So I've heard. So you had that. You had the interview. I've heard from some American friends that they don't even have an interview.
Oh yeah.
They literally just apply and they're accepted, pretty much.
Yeah.
Which is, okay. That's a different point on its own. But with me, I applied. I had to write 2 1,000-word essays.
Why? That sounds like jet.
I literally went on the website, because that was the company, and one essay was why do you want to live and work in Japan?
I had to do that, but it was like 250 characters.
Oh my god, no, 1,000. I think I must still have it on my computer. I'll try and like upload it on YouTube or something. Why do you want to live and work in Japan? 1,000 words.
Yeah, I had these questions, but it was part of the application process that was like 300 characters.
That's so weird. And the other one was what makes you think you'd be a good teacher?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
The amount of bullshit I gave in that, I was just like, well, I did like a degree in like, although it was in sports science, I'm really good at adapting. And I was just like, what the? So I did those 2,000-word essays, and I was just like, what the hell? Sent that in. I got a response. They then read that. They said, okay, we're trying to whittle you down from 250 to 75.
Bollocks.
And I was like, wow, oh my God.
And now they're literally gagging for people.
Yeah. So then I got another email about a month later. I think I got back from Uganda. So this was like in...
You went to Uganda?
Yeah, I volunteered, but I'll tell you about that later.
You did one of those things where you pay to go and help poor children even though they'd rather just have the money?
Pretty much. I'll tell you about this kitchen that we built and got knocked down another time. Yeah, we built it, paid for it, and then they knocked it down, sold the wood, so they got the money back. It was mental. But so that was in like July. Around this point, I finally got an email in about October,
right,
saying, okay, there's like 75 people now. We're trying to cut you down again.
No,
can we have a phone interview first?
This is treat them mean, keep them keen.
So yeah. So then they called me and they were just like, yeah, okay, we just want to ask you some more questions. Have you ever been to Japan? Can you speak any Japanese? Do you have any tattoos? And like all these things, and I answered all that. They were like, okay, thanks very much. We're now going to make the 75 to 25. About a week later, I got an email and it said, please come to Oxford at 9 a.m. in the morning.
The next day?
About a week later.
I was going to say.
But come to Oxford on like a Friday, a week later. So I had to take leave from my job, whatever I was doing at that time. Drive there, which took about an hour and a half. Got there in my suit. It was from 9 till 5. We started off...
What a way to make a living.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. And it started off with a presentation about Japan, a presentation about the company, and a presentation about the schools. That was the first hour and a half.
Right.
And I was thinking, this is really cool.
We just had some old woman who was there like, what do you know about Japan? Why do you want to live there? And yeah, that is...
Wow. Completely different.
I mean, I think ours was maybe 5 hours, 4 hours. I don't know. I remember my parents took me down because it was in London, and now they're like, "Cool, free day in London," and I was just sat inside.
See you later. Yeah. Well, I've just remembered something as well. So then we did that. Then we did introductions. Then we had a test.
Was it a grammar test? An English grammar
test? A grammar test, yeah.
I had that as well.
And I tell you what, I fucking aced it because I was looking so carefully, and I was like, "This looks like a double space." And I'd like circle it and like I was getting well into it. And they said, right, you've got 1 hour. And there was like 40 questions. And they were like, you've got 1 hour to do it. After about 15 minutes, I finished. And I was like, that can't be it.
Dude, mine was literally like 5 minutes.
Was it?
Man.
I know, this is what I mean. This is why the like disparities between it. So I was looking, are there any double pages? I was like, no, I've done it all. So I was looking at everyone else and I was like, why are they still writing? Like some girl was on like page 1, another guy was going, I can't do it, and like scratching his head. So then I kind of like, after a minute, I kind of like, I just left the room and I gave them my paper and I was like, I finished. And they were like, that's very early. Do you want to check? And I was like, I've triple checked. And they were like, okay. So then like the hour finished. I'm not saying I'm smart at all.
Oh, we know you're not.
Cheers. But afterwards, went back in and everyone's like, what happened? Like, are you all right? I'm like, yeah, I just finished like way early. They went, you finished? I didn't like do the last 2 questions. And they're like, this girl came in and was like, how did you do that? I'm like, what? It was literally like, it's like, there are 1 soccer ball on the table. And you would like circle the R because it's meant to be is and things like that. And they were like, we couldn't do it. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm with the like, this is the top 25, seriously. So we did that. Then there was another personality test. And it was like...
It was one of those gossip magazines like, which Kardashian are you?
No, but
who did you get, Courtney?
Yeah, it was... I don't know who that is because I don't watch that shit, mate. But it was literally like the look Joe's giving me right now. Terrace House.
Terrace House is just a glorified fucking Kardashian.
Amazing. Terrace House. I use it for study, mate, so...
for studying Japanese?
Yeah.
Oh, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah. And anyway, so we did this personality test and it was like, are you like... passive or like passive aggressive and all this stuff. I was just like, what the hell? In the afternoon we then had to do a lesson, so we were told a week before that, and I had to do a treasure map. So I had to make my own treasure map at home, which my mum helped me make. I had to go in, there was the camera, the lady was behind the camera, no one else was in the class, but what I did, I pretended there were students in the class. So I'd do that, and I forgot what Japanese names I used, but I think I was like, oh, yeah, good one, Kenta. Yeah, nice one. Okay. And at the back, blah, blah, blah. And they loved it. After that, so that was like 9 to 5. 25 then got reduced to 10. Had to go for another interview in Oxford about a couple months later.
No,
Past that,
bollocks.
yeah, I swear to God, in the end, they said, right, there's 10 of you. only 2 can get the position.
No, this is bollocks.
And we were like, oh my God. And I was like, but I've done so well. Like, if I don't get this will be a real downer. Because the other, no offence to all of you lot, you are shit. Sorry if any of you are listening now that applied in 2013.
He's not sorry, he means he's the alpha. He's better than all of you. Fuck you all.
I mean, I was. Seriously, I was way above them. And I'm not even that good. I didn't have like a degree in creative writing or anything, for example.
Waste of fucking time,
Yeah.
you mean?
But I got an email another month later and they said, you and this girl called like Zara or something have like made it.
I love her
We then
dresses.
went down again for another interview, just us 2. And a year to the day, I flew out. They said I got accepted and they were like, you need to fly out in 2 weeks. And that's why my initial flight was so expensive. Because I flew out in August. So my flight there was like 1,500 quid. Like one way. Yeah.
Fuck.
Absolutely
That's absolute
mental.
bollocks because now they're like, they are literally handing that shit
They're
out.
paying money. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, it's ridiculous. So like Americans can literally like apply like that. You, I guess you had a little bit of an interview. I had all that. And it just
We had to do the demo lesson. Like some people, when we went to London, they did the demo lesson.
Yeah.
I filmed it prior to that because I was like, "Fuck that! I don't want to do it live."
Yeah.
But it was super informal. It was kind of weird. It was super easy, and there, like, I can't believe 250 people to 2 people. That's absolute horseshit.
Yeah.
Horseshit.
I mean, I feel special, but it's bullshit. But yeah, that is to get into teaching in Japan. That is the 99% of foreigners, I think, that come here to live and work will enter the teaching system.
100%.
There is another way where you can do eikaiwa,
Yeah.
which is not working in schools, but it's kind of private English lessons.
You get other companies in Japan that do kind of like as the
After school
the
for
company that you
adults.
used to work for is they do schools, high schools, elementary schools, occasionally kindergartens. There are other companies that do exclusively eikaiwa, which is like evening work for businessmen who want to practice English conversation.
Yeah,
or
old
like
grannies
who want to understand, I don't know,
how
like,
are you and things like
I
that.
was going to say like Game of Thrones or something.
Game of Thrones.
I don't know, but like, yeah, eikaiwa, and there are other like a lot of people, because the pay isn't let's not be around the bush. The pay is dog shit.
Yep.
So a lot of people do like eikaiwa to supplement their income. Like,
Yeah.
So a lot of people will do their, I say 9 to 5. It's like 8:30 to 3:30, and then in the evenings or occasional Saturdays and shit, they'll do eikaiwa. And did you ever do that?
No, I did a lot of private lessons, and I did a couple of companies.
Like, we have friends who work for eikaiwa as well.
Yeah. If you can work eikaiwa
There's
full
one just around
time.
the corner, called Big Ben. It's giving away where I live. It doesn't fucking matter.
Oh, okay. But yeah, you can work for eikaiwa obviously full time as well. However, that is a lot of shift work, and usually the hours are between like 10 and 7.
And usually you have to work weekends.
Yeah,
too.
you have to work weekends. So, like your day off will be like a Monday and a Thursday. They're never
like,
kind of together. If you speak a bit of Japanese, you can't come here and work at like a restaurant and stuff. But if you came here on something else and then applied, some restaurants and things like that will hire you once you're in the country.
Yeah. They won't sponsor visas.
No, not. Yeah, most of them won't sponsor visa, and that's the thing. A lot of these companies, there's a lot of chances, but it's getting the visa. You need to work for a company that will give you the visa.
Yeah, and that's that. I mean, that's the draw of a lot of like dispatch companies and things like that, is that they do. And obviously there are the side of dispatch companies, but then there's also Jet, which is like in direct tandem with the Board of Education, is it not?
Yeah.
So they'll do that, and
They're
they'll
hired
just
by them,
fucking hand you a visa as well. And it is a really easy way to get a visa if you want to live in Japan.
Oh yeah,
But-
I'll tell you what. If you're listening to this podcast now and you're thinking, oh, like Deck First Japan podcast featuring Joe Scott, they are recommending like coming to teach in Japan. Come with Jet. Don't go with any other company. Not that we're naming them
The
or
thing is-
dissing them.
the thing is with
come
Jet,
with Jet.
it's a
You
more
will be absolutely fucking loaded.
It's a more difficult application process.
Yeah.
But that's because they pay into your pension.
Boom.
Medical insurance, they pay all of that.
Yep.
I mean, travel expenses.
Apartment is usually free, if not half price or 70%. Boom.
They give you like a cut for that.
Yeah, you're on $3,500 a month ish. Boom.
I thought it was 2,800.
Not the Jet that I was working with before.
Oh, really?
She was loaded. Yeah.
man. Well, I mean, depending on position as well, because if you're in the countryside, it's like very different.
Yeah.
But
You'll get a free car if you need it.
free car if you need it. You get a lot more time off. I mean, than paid time off than other people.
Yeah.
Better salary, better holidays, better other shit. Like
The only drawback is that you can only work for 5 years.
But then you just move to a different company.
And then when you move to a different company, for the first year, your tax will be based on your year with Jet. So your first year, you will be on a much lower salary with the new company, and you'll be paying a lot higher tax. So that first year, you'll kind of break even. However, after that, in your second year, your tax will be lowered. But that first year, you will literally be making so much money, no rent, no city tax as well, no health insurance.
Oh my God, the days.
And they're just loaded. The amount of tax that goes out of my, one hand and out the other instantly. It's like, payday today.
G-man.
Oh.
Out you go.
Yeah. 100,000 just gone. It's mad. Come with Jet, basically.
But also, again, for people who think that like living in Japan might be a pipe dream, dispatch companies, they'll do it for you. And again, it contributes to the poor English education standards in Japan. But
yeah, I mean, fair play to dispatch companies. These are companies that are not Jet, basically. They're employed by the government, so that's why. But dispatch companies, which are the other companies, they will set you up. Obviously, Joe had a bit of a bad experience, but usually they will set you up with everything. If you cannot speak a word of Japanese, if I said konnichiwa and you don't understand what that is, you can still come to Japan.
What does that mean?
It means you're a twat.
Oh,
but
shit.
Yeah,
why does everyone say that to me every day?
Yeah. The old bar sound's going konnichiwa. You're like, why are you calling me a twat?
Leave me alone. It speaks up beat me in park golf.
Yeah. Oh, we should do a live park golf. Anyway, we're getting off topic. But I'm saying dispatch companies, they'll set you up with a bank. They'll set you up with an apartment.
That's one thing that
they'll set you up with a school. They'll set you up with like insurance. They're good because you can get your foot in the country. Your foot's in the door, and then once you're in here, you can study Japanese at your own pace, do whatever, and then you can find your own options. To get to Japan, it's a very good and convenient way.
Yeah.
There's times here where sometimes I feel like a celebrity, but then other times...
It's because you're Deck vs. Japan,
It's because I am a celebrity, yeah. 200,000 videos on Hakujitsu by King Nu.
I've just said 200,000 videos?
200,000 views.
Videos? So many.
On that. I think I said 200... I don't know what I said, but I would still recommend coming to Japan to teach. I've had a blast. It's been the time of my life. I don't want to go home, so I would recommend people coming here. I would just say, be careful. Do a lot of background information about the company, because when I applied, I just literally typed in Google jobs in Japan and clicked the first link. Maybe I could have applied for Jet. I didn't know about Jet before I just
couldn't be bothered to do the application.
Okay. Jet is long. But saying that, I had a year-long process anyway, so I think it just depends on... It literally just depends on where you are, which country you're in, which county you're in even. We're in the same country, and even that process is different. What the hell's that about?
I don't know. It was strange, and I mean... Yeah. We did apply, like... Yours was 2011? No,
2012, and then 2013, yeah.
So, oh my God. So, yeah, mine was like 6 years. Mine was 2017, so I don't know if it changed in like the time since, but now it seems that dispatch companies are they want employees, so it's fucking easy, man.
Well, yeah, another thing as well, I think, is that going back to our main point of this podcast, well, actually it wasn't our main point, but it was kind of made into the main point, the discrepancies between teachers and companies is down to the training. And I say that word very lightly.
But Jet doesn't do training.
Jet has no training. This is the thing as well.
Like,
this is a good thing to tell the listeners.
Prepare you in they'd like prepare yourself for life in Japan. Here's some things. You might feel depressed because you're in a foreign country away from all
culture
your family.
shock.
Culture shock. Oh, you'll idolise it, then you'll hate it. Then you'll idolise it, then you'll hate it. And then they're like, oh, school, go. It's like Bear Grylls. They just helicopter drop you in the wilderness.
Somersaults out.
Fucking do it.
Other companies, again, I thought my training was very substantial, but that was because I was part of a 2-year special training. One of my friends was I'll give his initials, AB. He was the year before me. He was in the year before me, and there was 200 people in a kind of auditorium, and they brought in this kind of psychologist to do this training, and he shouted at people. He was like, "You're not good enough, get out of here, I don't want to teach you." And he made people cry, and they were like, whoa, this is serious. The next year, I didn't know this at the time, but I had the same guy, and there was only 20 of us training. There was Americans, English people, Australians, Canadians, Brazilians, all sorts. And I thought he was amazing. He was so calm. He taught us games for elementary school, games for junior high school, greeted us every day. He was the nicest guy ever. Only then when I became friends with AB, we went out drinking one night and we kind of like connected over like training and stuff. We're like, hang on, we had the same guy. Could not have been two different stories. Yeah. It was insane. This guy was so nice. One guy during training, he like kind of started like, what do you call it? Like having a panic attack. And this guy just took him, because he's like a psychologist, he just kind of took him aside. After like 10 seconds, the guy stopped crying, did like the best presentation ever. And I was like, oh my God. And like anytime someone made a mistake, he was like, he did that sandwich effect where he says something good, then something kind of like a bad criticism, and then like the bottom layer ending with something positive. And I really respected this guy. Like I thought, oh my God. And then when I came to Sapporo, I was ready. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't after the first lesson. The first year, I was like, oh my God, Japan. He made me confident. That's the thing. You then had training here.
We had a group of about...
Very different, I guess.
We had a group of about 15 people. Yeah. And it was English people, Irish people, American people, Filipinos and stuff like that. And it was run by... I won't go into specifics, but it was run by people who do the training where we live. And it was fine. It was 5 days of... And I think... we probably learned as much as we could. It was very much like the first day was like introduction to Japan. You're all foreigners who live here, sign contracts, do all of this shit. Like, you're gonna have a tough time. You're gonna get homesick. You're gonna do all of this. And I was like, okay, whatever. Like, I know that. And then, sorry, that might have been loud. That was my PC. And
this is a professional podcast, Joe, and I invite you on here for professionalism, and that is what I get.
I'm sorry.
These listeners, they're tuning out now. They're already switching off.
Go away. Like, don't let the door hit you on the way out. I mean, training, and then it was broken up into like, elementary school teachers. I mean, it probably would have been better to just have elementary training and junior high school training, but I don't think people knew what they were getting at that point.
Right. Yeah. It's only after training that
I went into training at this point thinking that I was still going to be a substitute. And so on one of the days, they're like, "Oh, you ready for your school meeting tomorrow?" And I was there like, "Hang on,
what?
Say what now?" Yeah. And now they're like, "Yeah, go and meet them tomorrow." And I was like, "Okay, whatever, cool, like that's fine." I didn't know, and I was like, "So I've got a school?" And they're like, "Yeah, cool." And like, I mean, I'm still at that school now, so.
Yeah. Did you have a kettle at this point? Because
no, I fucking didn't.
You still don't have a kettle.
I don't know when I got the kettle.
I mean, I'm looking at your kitchen now. You've got a kettle.
That's the same kettle that I bought when I first came. That's from That's
a good company as well. That's an expensive kettle.
Tefal.
Yeah, Tefal. If you do come to Japan, Tefal.
Yeah,
Tefal.
That's a T-FAL. Tefal.
I mean, if anyone from Tefal is listening to this podcast and wants to sponsor this podcast, then please get in touch.
Please sponsor this
foul mouth.
Japan. But yeah, so then it was like elementary activities in junior high school and like how to teach and everything. And the thing is, it very much teaches you one style of teaching, which is, hey, be the entertaining foreigner in the room. Like, be the loud.
Be the clown.
Yeah, and I was there like, I am not that person. Like, that's not how I am at all.
I'll be me, slightly over-exaggerated me, but I'm not going to be the clown.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm quite stoic and like... And that works for me as a teacher because, like, the students find it funny. They want to try and make me laugh. Yeah. They think that...
And you want them to think that English is a serious subject. Not, it's English crazy time!
Yeah, like, I'm going to sing songs and I'm not fucking singing a song.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, like, I go into a classroom and they all know me. They know what I'm like. Like, they know that I will laugh, I will smile, but I'm not going to be over exuberant and fucking throwing things and, well, actually, I do that. But, like, and they, like, take pride in trying to make me laugh because they think it's funny. And, like, I'll stare them down and pretend to be pissed off with them. Yeah. But they know that, I mean, unless I am actually pissed off with them. And that's the thing is, like, it's very much catered towards one way of doing it. They're like, oh, just, be energetic. The kids feed off your energy. And they're like, if you go into a class where no one's energetic and you're energetic, they're just going to hate you more. If I went into some of my 3rd grade classes and I was there like, who's ready to learn English? To be like, they'd just put their head
they'll
down.
be like, Joe, sit the fuck down.
Shut the fuck up. But,
Yeah. I think, there's a massive range of teachers that come to Japan. Some can do that kind of, I'm the class clown, everybody look at me. And they will usually be geared towards
Here's
elementary
a podcast
school.
First. I'm phoning Miho.
Oh my God.
1 second. She's just...
This,
Hey, Miho.
live.
You're live on the Deck vs. Japan podcast.
Put it on speaker. Let's hear Miho's voice.
1 sec.
Put it on speaker. Hang on. You don't get this on abroad in Japan. Hey, Miho.
Miho, what's up?
What is happening?
You're kind of on microphone. What do you need? Is it something that I need to turn speakerphone off for?
No, I wanted to ask, do you need anything?
More subscribers to the podcast.
More subscribers, more viewers. Hit that like button.
I can't get that, sorry.
Well, your feature obviously isn't helping us then. But no, I'm okay. Thank you. Just get what you need.
Did you guys have a dinner?
We had a late lunch. Oh, Deck has 2 bento. Do you have 2?
Yeah.
He's got 2 bento, so he's prepared and ready.
Okay,
All right. Are you gonna cook dinner when you get home?
I think so, yeah.
All right. Cool.
This is the Deck vs. Japan
Can you
podcast.
put the rice on?
If you're listening now, please subscribe and give us a like.
Yeah, I'll put the rice on for you. All right. See you soon.
Okay.
Wait, hang on, Miho. Say goodbye to everyone listening.
Bye.
All right. Bye, Miho.
Bye.
So to sum up, I think that teaching in Japan, do your research first. See if JET is for you. See if the other companies are for you. See what the other eikaiwas are like, which is the kind of private English companies.
And I think for all of the bad things that we say about it as well, a lot of it is what you make of it. Like if it can be a really fulfilling experience for you. And like I said, I've been at the same school for 3 years now. In next week, I'm having my final ever lesson.
Congratulations.
With my 3rd graders who I've taught from 1st through to 3rd grade.
It's experience, yeah.
So genuinely, I will really miss those, and they've made my time in Sapporo a lot better than it could otherwise have been. And I'm genuinely going to miss them.
I'm glad. That's very nice.
Yeah.
A lot of people come here and they do have a bad school.
Yeah.
They do have bad teachers and they have a bad experience and they go home with a bad image
And
of
the thing
Japan.
is, I've had something rare is a lot of people don't stay at the same school for 3 years. I've also had the same JTEs across all. I've got 5.
Yeah.
No, I have 4 this year. I started off with 5. One of them left, but the other 4.
Corona?
Let's not talk. No, he pissed off last year to go to another school or something.
Sure.
But those 4 JTs I've had for the whole time here. And
when you make a bond with the teachers, that helps so much.
Exactly. And
I've had one shitty teacher this entire time, and she almost made me quit. I was on the tipping point, and then I changed schools, and then again I found 4 or 5 great teachers again.
Yeah, and it's and I'm at this point now where the teachers understand me, I understand the teachers, we know what we require of each other, and we can just work well, and that's kind of harmonious. And it can be a really good, aside from all the bollocks on that front, but it can be a really fulfilling job to have. And
I'm actually good friends with a lot of my teachers, friends that I've worked in previous schools. My principal, every year at the end of December, I go to his house and I do the pounding of the rice, the mochitsuki, and it's just they're like actual friendships. It's not just teaching relationships.
I mean, I hate everyone, so it's difficult to make that kind of bond.
Yeah, I mean, I've had to pay you to get onto this podcast. That's what they don't know. I pay Joe.
You're fucking lucky. You pay me in what those snacks called again?
The Happy Tan.
Happy Tan.
If you do come to Japan and you're in training and you're wondering, what snacks do I need? Happy Tan.
Happy Tan.
Happy Tan. And
very Japanese.
I think that's a good ending. It's a happy tan ending. Happy tandem.
It is a good place to end. It can be a fulfilling job. There's a lot of baggage and a lot of bullshit. It's a good route into Japan, and it might not be for everyone. I know that some people who have left with their tails between their legs after 2 months of doing it because they realised it wasn't for them.
No.
There are other people who have come and have been here for 7 years. The fucking losers. Imagine that, Deck. Imagine that.
Right, you and me outside right now.
No, I mean, some people do stay here for life, and
It's an addictive country, I'll tell you that.
I mean, the thing is,
when I go back home, I love it, and then I come back here and I'm just like, there's something about Japan that, as much as you and I complain about it, I fucking love Japan.
And I think we are lucky in the fact that we are in what I cite as the best Japanese city, which is Sapporo.
We need to say that every podcast because it's true.
It's true.
Actually, we should do a podcast just on Hokkaido and teach everyone the
we should.
beautiful prefecture 100%. Of Hokkaido.
And also, if you do get to the end of this podcast and you'd like any specific kind of video, maybe going around and putting a spotlight on certain places in Sapporo, certain restaurants in Sapporo, certain things to see or do in Sapporo, let us know. Because
with the hashtag #AskJoe. Hashtag #AskJoe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and ask me anything. But that's something that we genuinely would enjoy doing. And given the means to do it, like with the help of some friends and to shoot and help translate, Derek's Japanese is good, but he's not necessarily confident enough to go out and... It's not. But... So that is something that we'd really like to do, is make like a small series of videos that highlight the great things about Sapporo, and from the perspective of people who know the place quite well.
I really appreciate, although I'm bigging him up here, abroad in Japan, what he's done for, where does he live? Tohoku or somewhere. I think it's Tohoku.
Didn't he used to live in Sendai? I don't know.
Sendai. I think Sendai's in Tohoku.
I watched like 2 of his videos and he seems like a really nice guy, but I never got around to watching them again.
The stuff that he does where he bigs up around his place, it's really good. And it was so good that I think some travel company got like him, Rachel and Jun, Charlotte in Japan.
I have no idea who any of these people are.
Got them all together and they went to Okinawa to then big up Okinawa and do a travel podcast.
Nice.
So if we can get on that, mate, I'll be taking you. Don't you worry about that. Because
they're
allowed to take 1+. So,
but that's the thing is like,
because they bigged up their prefecture.
We've said as well that when the weather gets a little bit better this year, we'd like to see more. I mean, we've seen a lot of Sapporo and Hokkaido.
Yeah.
Not together. Let's make for more
not
magical
yet.
experiences. Not yet. And so we've said that this year we would like to visit more areas and doing like small series about different places that we visit. And I mean, there are incredible places like Noborobetsu, an hour away from an hour southeast or whatever, is probably my favorite place in the world.
Hell Valley.
What
a name that is.
So doing like a little series on that, like a little 20-minute video, just if you want to see anything like that, let us know. We'd be more than happy to do it. And you know, we have the idea to do it. We just kind of need more of an incentive. Yeah. So if that's the thing people want to see, Hokkaido Tourism, if you're listening, please hire us. Yeah. We'd appreciate that job very much.
Yeah.
So, and also I can do graphics and write copy. And now this is just going to turn into my life.
All right, now it's just getting about you.
This is turning into my CV.
Cheers for listening.
No. Hire me. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Nice one.
Yeah. Cheers for listening. And you going to bow? I'm going to bow, even though they can't see me. I just bowed.
I'll just tell you that I'm not bowing because...
He's bowing! I can see him! He's bowing. He's doing a naked bow. I can see him.
This is where the feed cuts while we wrestle. But yeah.
Cheers for tuning in. And
hopefully there'll be less of a gap between this one and the next one.
Yeah. If you have got this far again,
leave a message in the comments saying...
Banana Trump.
That's your sentence for today.
Hashtag Ask Joe.
Ask Joe. Ask Joe, not ask.
Ask Joe.